Awesome date, October 17th, 2011. Awesome topic, Anime Week in Atlanta, also in 2011. This is the OSMcast. Hey folks, and welcome back to the OSMcast, the podcast for everything awesome. I'm Basil.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Bonnie.
That's right, and that's us. We've just gotten, last weekend was, or 2 weekends ago or so, was Anime Week in Atlanta, 2011. Was it AWA 16, 17?
Oh, there's something we should know, but I want to say 17.
It was many AWAs, and I mean, hell, they don't even really, mention it on their website or anything anymore. It's just, AWA now. They don't even bother saying the date, or not the number. So, AWA 2011 was totally a convention we went to, and overall, I think had a great time. And we usually do our con reports the nights of AWA, or the convention we go to, but AWA was, in fact, so jam-packed with stuff we were doing, we didn't actually have time to actually record.
That one random thing with, I don't even know if we
showed up on. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Get to that later.
Okay, yeah. Let's try to have some semblance of chronological order.
But that wasn't us. Also, we tend to con later than everybody else in our group.
Yeah.
Due to circumstances, we were both in separate rooms.
Yeah.
Even though they were beside each other, we were both in separate rooms and blah, blah, blah. But Anime Week in Atlanta. It is the big anime con that happens in Atlanta, Georgia. Happens in September. Every year. It's probably the biggest one in the southeast area. I think they're saying between 15 and 18,000 people.
I believe it was supposed to be the biggest con in the southeastern United States.
Yeah, so it's huge. And chances are you have heard us talk about it before. Like the several last previous AWAs, we've been doing panels now, and we cover, and usually I try to get congoers' experiences, but I didn't get a chance this time again because it was so packed of things to do. So, to begin with, we got there on Thursday, and Thursday was interesting in that they had their Super Happy Fun Sale that Dave Merrill has been doing. It's been a sort of his pet project where he sort of creates the whole flea market environment.
Super Happy Fun Sale!
Where you pay $20 or $30 and you get a table to put all the crap you want to sell off, and people come in and buy your crap.
Yeah, I got Dave Merrill's Sasoriger figure. An awesome piece of anime mediocrity for the rest of my days.
And I mean, there was a lot of it was like anime and manga merchandise and various otaku gear, like plushies and wall scrolls and what have you. I at least saw at least one or two people who had their own books that they obviously self-published. They were selling to get rid of probably backstock and stuff.
Yeah.
Because, it's only $20 or $30 for a table. It's way cheaper than trying to get an artist alley table or dealer's room. And so it gives them a real good chance of, trying to sell some stuff right at the get-go, and then they can enjoy the convention later.
Yeah, it's a neat idea, and it does seem to get some turnout. So.
Oh, this year it was a huge turnout. Yeah. I mean, it was more packed than the dealer's room, and it was not in a small space this year. It was part of main events. It was packed to the gills. Even near when it was ready to close, it was still filled with people buying stuff. There was at least a good 50 to 100 people right then and there. Yeah, at least. And afterwards, Dave did his old school classroom where he shows off a bunch of old films and anime and stuff. A lot of Ishimori stuff apparently this time. Which we said, screw it, we went drinking. But
Oh,
at the hotel bar. But, perhaps we should have gone. But, it's okay. I heard people went there, people had fun, and in the end, that's what's the important thing.
Well, we still would have had to coordinate the arrival of the rest of the people in the room.
It's true.
So it was probably best we were on standby, so to speak.
But, it was good. It was fun. And then we slept. And then it was morning. And then, I guess, would be just, opening ceremonies.
Yeah, the only thing I did is walked Lee down to registration, and we got him a badge.
Yeah, registration was interesting because we had to go through the media. We had to go through the group line because we're a media group, and therefore we go to get group badges.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the registration had a little bit of kerfluffle when we started, where they had mixed up all the badges.
It seemed like the next morning things were running a little smoother, but
well, I'm sure they were. And I also...
Yeah, initially there on Thursday night, it was a mess. It's like the groups were moving, the line moving the slowest, followed by pre-reg, and people just walking in were just basically walking up and paying money and walking away.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that they had pretty much had their convention set up for all 3 days, set in stone already on Thursday, which unfortunately was, while great for them to have everything set up ahead of time, probably was not the most optimal solution for Thursday. Because for Thursday, you're going to have mostly people who pre-reg, people who are hardcore AnimeCon goers who know the score and are going to go ahead and pre-register ahead of time. Whereas, what the setup they had was 1 for groups, 2 or 3 for pre-reg, and then 2 or 3 more for walk-in registration, which is great for the convention because you're going to have a lot of both walk-ins and pre-registers. But on Thursday, they probably could have gotten away with having like maybe 2 for groups, they're 4 for pre-reg, and then have 1 for walk-ins, which would have been a more optimal solution for Thursday, but probably not the optimal solution for the rest of the con. That said, it wasn't like it was a terrible wait for badges or anything.
No.
So they can totally get away with it. But there you have it. So anyways, opening ceremonies was fun. Dave Merrill comes up, he throws candy. I got popped in the head at least once.
Twice for me.
Which is okay. I mean, we were near the front row. Look, when you go into war, that there might be casualties.
You might take a Jolly Rancher to the head or something. It could happen.
Or a Milky Way. It's going to occur. If you're near the front, you're most likely to get candy to the face. And if you're in the back, you're not likely to eat candy at all. So, dims the brakes, deal with it. And then, we had, the introducing all the guests and here and that. Hey, thanks for showing up to AWA.
Yeah, I still don't know who they were, but those Japanese fashion designer guys, they had great hair.
They did.
And by great, I mean just totally outrageous. Like Jim, truly outrageous hair.
And then there was that one random band that was very, very outgoing.
Yeah, I still never got to find out if the one guy was the drummer or not, who was like, what is it, Me Too, or... that was like his only English. He just never just said was like Me Too.
Mostly they just yelled and going, rock and roll!
Yeah, I just figured the Me Too guy was a drummer. I just never got to find that out. He just looked like the drummer.
And, to preface the rest of this, I sort of made my own personal schedule of what I wanted to go see, what panels I wanted to attend. And it was a very nice optimal schedule if I somehow could make every single thing right on time with no breaks in between. But it was totally not a realistic one at all. And so while I got to several of the panels I wanted to, there were a lot of panels I didn't get to. I had to give it for like food or resting or what have you.
Yeah, only thing I'm really kicking myself about is Anime Hell.
Well, Anime Hell had its own separate issues with that.
Yeah.
Like, for me, my big thing I was really wanting to go see was the Zaki panel.
Yeah.
That Gerald and stuff was running, Sunday morning when we were having to check out. Like, I was really looking forward to that panel to see, because I love a lot of stuff that guy's done, and it would be kind of nice to see, them talk about it. But, what happens. Now, that said, we did get to go see Mecha 101, the Saiyans Fans Guide to Mecha Anime, which was being ran by Gerald and Daryl of Anime World Order.
So, I am so not the target audience of that panel.
Well, I have a feeling that most people there were not.
I wasn't.
Well, that's because you're a Philistine and don't like giant robots, but that's okay.
Oh, that hurts. No, I never got really into the genre.
Actually,
and then...
in theory, you should have been the target audience because they were trying to, do things that are easy to start with, easy to start watching.
And I honestly, I have watched several Gundam and Mazinger and all that, and I just never paid attention because I just felt lost. But Gerald and Daryl actually made it kind of easy to try and get into it.
Yeah, pretty much what they did was they went, okay, guys, here's how mecha fans are stupid. Don't be like that. And here are shows that you can actually introduce people to, and they may not hate it.
And there's some easy things you could branch into off it if they liked it, you know.
But it totally, definitely succeeded as a 101 panel.
Yes.
Unfortunately, right afterwards was, I think, was that when I went to the dealer's room the first time?
Maybe.
Or that was lunch. That was lunch. Mm-hmm. And then we went to the, or at least I know Kevin and I did, went to the Yoshitoshi Abe panel.
Oh, yeah.
Where he was talking. He was talking, and you got to it first.
Yeah. That's where... I didn't realize he did the cover art for All You Need Is Kill, which is kind of cool.
Yes. And apparently, who was it that's trying to get a movie made of it that he could star in?
Yeah, there's apparently talks of a All You Need Is Kill movie with Brad Pitt in it as the lead, I think they said. Which is so wrong, but on the other hand, I would like to see a movie made of that. It's an awesome book.
Now, just so you know who Yoshitoshi Abe is, he is the character designer for stuff like Lane and
Habane no Reime.
Yeah.
And I'm probably forgetting something else.
And All You Need Is Kill was this sci-fi novel that you can actually get in America translated. It's actually a pretty good translation.
To not be terribly spoilery, it's kind of Starship Troopers meets Groundhog Day.
Where a dude in sort of powered armor has to fight off aliens, and he's repeating the same events over and over again.
Yeah, he keeps dying, but he keeps repeating the same day over and over. And each day, he lives a little longer, or he does something different, and things play out slightly differently, but each day, it starts over again.
And it's a really good novel. It's like, what if Endless 8 from Haruhi Suzumiya was actually good?
The novel was good, but no.
And he talked to some of his other stuff, and people asked questions, but it was just really neat. You know, it's always great if you can make it to a Japanese guest panel, because you're going to hear stuff you've never heard of before.
Yeah.
What was going through his brain, what his inspirations are, and stuff like, apparently he worked on this video game for, I guess, either DS or 3DS that was about detectives dying in spectacular ways.
Yeah, I want that game.
Where you play a detective, and at some point they are going to die, but the trick is to get as far as you can before they die.
I gather there was some point of, like, the past experience somehow paid off for you with the next character, and you work through the story, but, like, you were never going to make it through it with the first guy. You always had to... You were going to die a few times no matter what.
Wasn't there a question from the audience where they said if all the characters had been allowed to live, what would have happened to them? And he said something like, they were never going to live.
Yeah. He's an interesting guy. He has a better translator of the Japanese guests, although the translator didn't seem to always know what the guy he was talking about.
Well, that's going to happen, especially when you have like super geek topics.
Yeah, because I'm an anime nerd, and I didn't know what all these things people are talking about, and then trying to go between Japanese and English when you're maybe not even sure what the person's talking about in the first place is got to be hard.
And it was dumb luck that we happen to know what All You Need Is Kill is.
Yes.
Because when I think it's at Hakisoru, whatever Viz has an imprint where they're translating sci-fi novels into English. And the release of them as actual books or on Kindle and whatnot. And I happened to find out about it before they started it, and so I picked up all their first releases. One of them, which was All You Need Is Kill. And I loaned it to Kevin, and so that's why we both know what this book is. But if we hadn't, going to this panel, we would have no clue what they were talking about. Only that it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, I think there were a few other people sounded like in the crowd who knew what it was. It got a lot of blank stares, though, so apparently not many people read that one.
Well, I guarantee you that a lot of people know what Lane is in America, but not a lot of people know what All You Need Is Kill is.
And really, the odd thing is he is more of an art guy. Like in terms of he had some creative influence in Lane, but it was really more an entirely different person. Chiaki Konada, I believe. But he, like Lane and Haibane no Reime, I think he had a lot of creative influence on. He's more of an art guy.
And I'm trying to remember, was there anything else we did before the English Jamboree hit?
I think we went to the noodle joint.
And I was like, curse you and your foul noodle joint, and went and ate somewhere else.
Yeah, that's right. I think we hit the dealer's room, which was a dealer's room.
It was okay. Basil finally found his slime.
On Sunday.
Oh, Sunday, yeah.
Up until that point, I was, going, well, it's a dealer's room. And at this point, I've learned that the stuff that I want to buy at dealer's rooms, chances are not things they are going to sell.
Saw an Angry Bird plushie, thought of you.
I'm sure you did. Screw that thing. But I always know that now that I know what to do, I can always find something that I want. For example, I knew that Vertical was going to, with Ed Chavez, they were going to be selling books. And while I tend to order most of my books for Vertical online, there's a few things that I have not picked up yet, so I want to stop by his booth. And he was there, we exchanged pleasantries. And then he was like, oh, by the way, I have an advanced copies of Drops from God that I can sell. And I was like, why, yes, thank you. While myself and then Ryan Gavigan of Hyocon, or at least he used to do Hyocon. He also does Midnight Madness for AD Way. He's really big into fan parodies. And he also picked up a copy, which enraged Gerald, because by the time he had a chance, they were sold out already.
Oh my.
And I finally got my vertical bag, which was cool, and found out how getting a vertical bag works. The way it works is, if you find the vertical booth that's selling at a convention near you, if you buy three manga, novels, what have you, 3 books, you get a bag. Didn't know how that works, so
hey, I got
now
10,000 needles, and I didn't get a bag at that other con. Oh,
well, he was out of bags at that point.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
At Otakon, it was out of bags at Otakon. That's why he apologized when I was buying books, but I didn't realize that was how it worked. Would you buy a bunch of books and he gives you a bag?
Oh, well, I should have bought some more books from him this time. Oh well, always the next con.
Well, and I picked up that, and he also had an advanced volume of Chi, Sweet Home, which I picked that up.
Yeah, I want to get that No Longer Human.
And then Velveteen and Mandala. It's teenage girl zombies things.
Oh yeah, that
which I picked up from Bonnie, which I actually need to get to you. Anyways,
that actually sounded good. That's another one I wanted to get. I like Vertical's lineup. They put out interesting stuff.
I also picked up a copy of Peepo Chu, which is by I can't remember his name.
I remember hearing him talk about it at his Otakon.
It's the guy Felipe Smith. He is either from Argentina or the U.S. or something, but he's definitely he's definitely not Japanese, and he was actually able to go to Japan, and actually Peepo Chu was actually originally written in Japanese to be published in Japan, and it's one of the few cases of someone who's not Japanese actually publishing manga for the Japanese in Japan.
He is the exception to the rule, people.
And then Vertical picked it up to put it in English in America. So I picked up the first volume. That manga's weird. Like,
how so?
Like, there's titties for one, and you don't get to see that often. And it's not just like they happen to have boobs. No, I'm talking like blaxploitation level,
tickle bitties,
multiple levels of like higher levels of the alphabet, and multiple increments.
Oh my!
Jugs, and it's very lots of drugs and guns and bloody violence, but also about a little guy who's good to going to Japan for the first time. It's an interesting story, and I really need to order the next few volumes.
Okay, that sounds interesting. I wasn't sure what to make of that when I just saw it, but
and the art style, because it's very definitely anime and manga inspired, but it's not quite. You definitely tell that it's not your traditional Japanese look.
Yeah.
And so it's just really neat on multiple levels. But yeah, I think at that point, I then had to go get ready and prep for my first panel, which was my English Jamboree 2 English Halda.
Powered on my new laptop.
Yes. Powered by Kevin's new laptop, because unfortunately, recently, they have now released new codecs that handle the new 10-bit encryption.
Yeah, everything's on 10-bit now. It's
for your various MKV and other fan sub files. And so I thought I'd future-proof myself, so I downloaded the latest codecs and stuff and installed them to my netbook. Unfortunately, that had the side effect of removing all my previous settings, which allowed me to actually run video off my netbook that was in like 720p and higher resolutions. And I still got to figure out how to reset it so that it can. But in the meantime, Kevin has a nice, fancy, shiny, new multi-core laptop that ran it just fine.
Yeah, other than occasional subtitle issues, but I don't know. That was just something weird in the settings.
But I ran it, and it's what the English Jamboree is I run various clips from like anime and commercials and music videos that is filled with English, which is Japanese people trying to speak American and failing.
Visual K Disney covers.
Oh my lord, yes.
Oh yeah. And I might even make sure that we include some of that in here.
Friend like me is still burned into my soul, and the pain lingers.
Like, chances are, if you don't hear it, it's because James wouldn't let me use it. So we'll find out. So what was next on the docket? I think at that point, that's when we went to go get actual dinner. No, that's right. That's what happened was, we went to go see the Leiji Matsumoto stuff by Drew and Mark and Richard and them.
Except we didn't really get there.
No, we ran into Carl Gustav Horn from Dark Horse Comics.
Yeah, and we went to help him. We went and helped him.
He Carl runs wonderful. You know, he's one of the editors from Dark Horse, and he's one of the recurring guests for and Week in Atlanta. And by God, we love him for it. Carl's one of the most smartest, intelligent, coolest anime fans who loves his job, which is editing, manga you'll ever find. I love that man to death. I hope he just keeps doing whatever it is he's doing. And yes, if you know him, he runs a party at night, and we agree to help him get all his decorations ready because each of his parties always has a different theme, and he does wilder and crazier ways of using that theme. And so we helped him get ready, and then as soon as we got done with that, we went to go get dinner, and by this point we got back, anime hell was already in effect, and the room was packed.
Yeah, it was.
Packed.
It's like standing room, fire code limit reach, nobody's getting in, packed.
Yeah, and there was no way, even as media, that we were going to get in because they literally just did not have enough room to put people into it. And so we said, oh well, it happens, and then went to go party hardy for a bit.
Yeah, I probably didn't miss that much new stuff. I hope.
Well, I know they played Robot King, the thing that Mike Toole did, where he took a knockoff Big Lots Gundam.
Oh, yeah.
And then did a song about it, which is great. It is amazing. And you should go look it up if you haven't heard it before or watched it. It's awesome. And that was pretty much our Friday, I think. Unless anyone did anything else that I didn't know about.
Didn't you have a... No, that was...
No, my other two panels were our panel. My other panel was both on Saturday.
So yeah, that might have been it for Friday.
Pretty much. I just remember drinking a lot of Cuba Libres and trying absinthe for the first time at Carl's party, and that was about all I remember.
Yeah. So anyway, Saturday, which I was the first one up again. I don't know how I was one of the last to always go to sleep, but the first to wake up, and I'm ostensibly one of the eldest people in our group.
When were you off on Saturday?
I was up at 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think you beat me, although I think Lee might have been up around then, but we didn't actually get out of the room.
But Lee's crazy. He actually goes to bed at decent hours.
He tried.
But the first thing that I went to go see was Anime 101, an introduction for new fans and confused parents, which was Daryl Surratt running it. And I kind of went more to see how he did it so that I possibly steal that format for later conventions myself. And it was interesting. He went through initial terms and stuff and examples. And it definitely is a great primer on what you should be looking at when you think of anime.
Did you seem to actually get some confused parents?
There was definitely some parents there. And I think people are just bored and looking for something to do.
It was first thing in the morning. If you're an early riser, it's sometimes hard to find things to do.
It was. And, and after that, I had to jump out of that one early because then I had to go do Getting Your Anime Groove Back, which was my next panel, which is my whole idea of making sure that, for people who I always hear it, I always hear people talk about it, how they used to be in an anime and then they fell out, it happens. Especially since the anime heydays of the early 2000s and the late 90s, where anime became this big thing, and you had Toonami and Adult Swim and blah, 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 blah. Anime sort of had its little boom and bust. And so a lot of people who used to be in anime are no longer out of anime, but a lot of them still go to anime cons. And so this whole panel is I've tried to pick some anime that's a little bit different from the norm, might be something that, if you're out of it, you can get into. And gave me an excuse to run the first 13 minutes of Redline, which definitely worked.
Yeah, Redline is awesome. They got me to go watch it.
And it's kind of amazing that the subtitles worked for that panel, but didn't work for the other. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
And that worked out really well. I showed Redline and Michiko Hachin and Jellyfish Princess, House of Five Leaves, Toriko, Future Boy Conan.
Yeah.
I think that might have been it.
Yeah, that's about. I think that's what usually. Because you change the lineup a little each time, but yeah, some of those have been in there.
Yeah. Next year, I'm going to change the lineup entirely, but those were a lot. Except for Redline, those were all the big hitters that I was using for this year. And what I'll actually do is I'll actually go into the actual episodes and go into various scenes, so people sort of have an idea of how the anime actually flows. It's sort of a not quite a recap, but sort of a preview of what you're getting into.
Although, I know right before that, me and Lee watched an episode of Classic Kashurn and Steel G in the viewing room. That was fun. And I got to watch a little bit of Gokaiger because we walked by the live action room. They were showing Sentai. It was kind of cool.
I didn't get to do anything Saturday morning. I was sick and in bed and bemoaning my existence. But I got up by 1, I think.
And then following that, I then went to a little bit of the indie manga panel that was being done by Ed Chavez, where he actually explains what indie manga is, who are the various magazines run in, what kind of circulations they are, some examples, and it was really neat and saw stuff that I was interested in, stuff that I already read, and discovering that a lot of stuff we actually get in the US is actually pretty indie in Japan, and do not get various big print runs at all, that usually, roughly, I think he said like 2% of actual circulation of manga, which includes stuff like Wandering Sun.
Oh, yeah.
Which Bonnie was sent on a mission to find stuff for, which did not work.
Yeah, apparently it's so indie, no merchandise.
Oh yeah, I mean, unfortunately it's just going to happen. And then after that was, I think you went to Best Mecha Fights.
Yeah, I think between that and the Go Nagai panel, all I did went to Best Damn Mech Fights Ever, and who was that running that? That was
Darius.
And that was a long panel. Me and Lee were there. We actually left partway through, went and got something to eat, came back. It was still going on, and we still had to leave a little bit early to get to Go Nagai panel before it was quite over yet. I did get a Gravion first DVD because I knew Toshihiro Hirano directed Ray Earth in addition to Ixer 1, because he showed some Ixer 1. We went through some good stuff. There's a lot of Go Nagai floating around this con, which kind of fed into our next one, but he showed some Mazinger, some Get a Robo, a couple of the crossover movies. He did get into some more modern stuff further in, like Zero Eighth MS Team, and I don't know, I missed some stuff a little bit. I know, oh yeah, we got up to go and eat when he was doing Robotech, just on the principle of the thing.
But yeah, then after that was Anime's Creepy Uncle Go Nagai, which in between indie manga and eating and then having some stomach issues, I got there literally right as it hit 3.
Yeah.
I'm walking in, and I'm like, well, it's going to, I don't know who's going to show up, and it was a packed room.
Well, it evens out. I was like 6 minutes till the Getting Your Anime Groove back, and when I got there with the laptop, and so it was okay. I had the laptop set up and ready to go when you got there.
But man, it was one of those things where it was like, oh gosh. I just had to rush in. I don't need people to show up. Oh god, there's a complete room. They're all looking at me. And then Kevin and Richard from Akiba Renditions and Seishikan's looking at me. And I'm like, uh-oh, this is the real deal.
Yeah, this is an old school con, AWA. They know Go Nagai. It's
like, they did. And this is sort of it's a part 101, part celebration of all his big properties. As one of the things I've learned is that, and the same thing happened this time. You may know what Cutie Honey is, but you don't know about Mazinger. Or you might know about Mazinger, but you don't know about Shameless School. Or you might know about Shameless School, but you don't know about Enma-kun. And since we're covering all the biggins...
And everyone forgets Devilman.
Nobody forgets Devilman. Satan's always in your heart.
Damn right.
and so at first, we had a little bit of kerfluffles, because that's when Kevin's laptop started going, I don't really want to show subtitles. I don't need to do that. And we were like, well, that's not going to work. So we switched to a different player, and that worked just fine.
Yeah, go fig. I don't know. I think it just does it on the profile I hastily created for Basil to run this on, and I don't know why.
And for me, because I suddenly realized that there was a lot of people there, and some of them probably knew more about Go Nagai than I did.
But we faked it. No.
Yeah, well, at first, it was a little bit jumbled, and I was getting back into the whole groove thing with it. But then I think once we actually got going and started showing clips, started talking, it worked out really well. And thank God for Richard, who came in. He'd forgotten that he had even agreed to do this thing, and then he noticed his name was in the program guide.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, apparently I'm going to be on the Go Nagai panel with you, Kevin." It's like, really? Yeah, I'm in the program and everything. I don't remember that, but apparently I am.
And our only other big thing was getting you two to actually use microphones.
Well, the other two microphones were weird.
They were kind of crappy, because, Richard was speaking loud, and it was like, no, it wasn't going.
I just mostly he had one that was okay, and mine was just dead. I'm pretty sure. And I was trying to do my best to enunciate to the back row.
Because I also discovered going to that panel room at other times, the mics were necessary.
Yeah.
Especially when we were talking a lot over the video.
Yeah.
But you learn things, you live, you learn. and then you go to the My Little Pony panel.
My God, it was full of bronies.
Oh my lord, yes.
And this one has one of the weirder issues of AWA is that they had the program book. And the program book had full titles for everything and descriptions and who ran what. It was great if you bothered to read it.
The Pocket program, on the other hand, like, what was the real name of the panel?
The real name of the panel was My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. How did it come to this?
The Pocket guy just said brony.
That was it. Just brony.
Just that one ominous word.
And so I think a lot of people went there to go see what in the world, to go, oh, it's a brony thing. I'm going to go be a brony. And so people brought balloons, was ready to sing songs. And the whole idea was to have an intellectual discussion about My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Yeah, I still don't. They had some issue with their clip showing ability, so I still don't know what I think about My Little Pony.
The people running it was Neil Nadelman, who is a wonderful, wonderful translator, and he does totally lame anime. He's a funny guy. He knows his stuff. And then the other two people also knew their stuff, which was Gerald and Clarissa from New World Order. Mm-hmm. And it was more or less them trying to talk about My Little Pony, and then whenever they would say something, occasionally they would suddenly get interrupted from the audience, who decided that what they were saying was wrong and they needed to put their input. And so it was more or less them trying to tame the herd.
Yeah, there's another, like many series, I think I'm starting to feel that My Little Pony is a show I might learn to enjoy, but learn to hate the fandom.
I think that's kind of where I'm coming from, too, because I like My Little Pony, and I like the intellectual discussion that they were having, especially what Clarissa had to say about, finally being more than just boys in makeup, and I love that. But
yeah, that made me actually think I might want to see the show. Mm-hmm. The stuff that they had to say about it, about, being pretty smart by the standards of American TV pretty smart by the standards of American TV, period, mm-hmm. but also aimed at girls and still being smart for American TV, period.
I know several guys who enjoy it, but it got to the point where they were just fighting with the audience and they were being annoying little jerks. So
yeah,
the audience.
The audience, by the way, sorry.
My God, it's full of bronies, was said many a time by me.
Didn't he have to take away their balloon?
Well, someone was do the whole. They blew a balloon. They were using it as sort of like a beach ball mm-hmm. to pass around the crowd. And in the very beginning, Neil Nadelman was like, to the balloon, was like, no, mm-hmm. this isn't that kind of panel.
There will be no random musical numbers.
And the entire crowd jeered. They looked at him, and then he sighed, and then handed it back to the balloon. And unfortunately, we left a little bit early because we were getting hungry and we had dinner reservations. But I guess we missed it when Neilman finally put on his his pony hoodie and declared himself king of all bronies. But
that may have been what happened. That's what we heard later.
And that's what I choose to believe. Yeah. I like to choose to believe that Neil Nadelman is the king of all bronies, and that they will all follow him into hell and back.
Long may he reign.
And that's at that point where we went and had dinner. And then I think people started, going separate ways. And then I eventually went back to go see Panel of Doom.
Yeah, me and Lee, and we ended up there too.
Which is Daryl Surratt showing goofy videos.
Just whatever tickles his fancy, which is, especially if you missed Anime Hell, it's more fun, crazy, melt your brain clip show action.
But he sort of, he likes to do more Nicolas Cage, whereas, Dave Merrill likes to do more Don Hertzfeldt.
Yeah, I love the Nicolas Cage pachinko vids. Those were awesome.
And Nicolas Cage eating bugs, because he's a vampire.
Or at least he thinks he is?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen Kiss of the Vampire. I just know that's what it's from.
Highly recommended. Very bad horror movie.
You can get it on Netflix today.
Netflix doesn't work too good at my house because internet sucks in New Hope.
On the plus side, hey, no more Quickster. It's all still just Netflix.
Did you get your email too?
It was on Twitter.
I got my email. I was like, oh, so you're not going to play this game. But yeah, everybody was going to Blockbuster Video. But anyway.
And after that point, I think, did you say still for Craziest Deaths?
Yeah, me and Lee hung around for Anime's Craziest Deaths. It was Anime's Craziest Deaths. It was kind of fun having Lee there because, he'd go, what is that? And I could tell him. As opposed to when I'm there with Basil and he usually knows everything too. He recognizes all the shows that I'm recognizing.
So what was some of your favorite deaths?
Well, it's always classic Fist of the North Star. I mean, it just isn't Anime's Craziest Deaths till Ken gets to, of course, you're already dead someone, and then they explode.
Oh, awesome.
A little wata action, and some JoJo's, of course. Most of the cool deaths in Ma'o, because it's got several.
Did he break Dark Thunder?
Yes. Excellent. A little bit of Genocide Burr, it's some good stuff. I don't think he pulled out the Apocalypse Zero, because it wasn't an 18-up panel. But, He didn't. No, he didn't do. I don't think he did any Violence Jack either. That would have probably also needed to have been an 18+ panel.
Right.
I thought somebody. No, I don't know. I may be confusing panel. He might have shown a little Violence Jack, like the least violent death in Violence Jack.
Was that in the Go on a Guide panel though?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but we didn't show any Violence Jack at the Going to Guide
We
panel.
didn't, because you can't really show that at an all ages panel.
No, we did show Black Lion,
Yeah.
which was still pretty violent,
Yeah. But that was in the acceptable level. This is not.
Acceptable? Every time the screen changed, I was like, oh, ow.
Compared
Right.
to Violence Jack, it's
That's
incredibly acceptable. Violence Jack is. I sometimes wonder if I overhype it, but no, it is just extremely violent and just cutting loose in incredibly violent, horrible things.
And then I think we went to go party hardy a little bit longer.
Except we somehow ended up going to different parties at different times because we had split up. But
Well, it's true, but then we eventually met up again at the end, around about 2 o'clock in the morning. And then as we were in the elevator, next thing we know, Daryl and Gerald Quissa, and then Noah and Aaron from Ninja Consultants comes in. Daryl points at me and goes, podcast. I'm like, when? Now. Really? Well, it depends on Aaron. And so next thing we know,
I just followed him. And she was like, who are you guys? I'm like, we're the OSMcast.
Well, Erin knew me, and she's like, oh, I guess you can go in. But then when you mentioned that you were from the Oscars, she was like, oh, that's where you're from. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes more sense now. And it was I'm sure you'll hear it at some point. We'll definitely link to it. It was a very off-topic discussion, but in a way.
Yeah, I hope you could actually hear some of the stuff we said that we're passing around a microphone.
The real star was she was the life of the party.
Yeah.
And if it ever gets, bless her heart. And I don't know if this will ever get edited and released, but we'll link to it. She said some pretty great things.
Yes, she did.
Especially about, Yamato and
Yes.
how they should have handled Deathlock. But,
Well,
and that was Saturday, and then we eventually crashed, and then we woke up, and it was Sunday, and then, oh crap, we got to get ready to leave because it's Sunday, and the hotel's going to kick us out.
Yeah,
Charge me for more room time. I didn't want to pay that money.
I'm not sure. You might have woken up. I don't know. I was up kind of early, but I was also kind of trying to herd Lee and Brad.
Oh, I was still the first one up,
Yeah.
but it was one of those things where it's, shower, start getting ready. Other people were showering.
Yeah, I was
getting
kind
ready.
of packed up. I was pretty much packed up well before. Like Lee and Brad had started to get up, and I was like, "Are you guys up?" When I sent you the "You up yet?" text or whatever. We've been up for a while. I'd been up for a while at that point,
But because of that, there was a lot of panels I wanted to go to on Sunday. But wasn't possible because we were too busy getting ready to go. So I missed the Osamu Dezaki panel. Then Daryl did a best fight scenes ever in live-action Asian cinema. Really wanted to see
that
it.
was probably really cool.
And I'm sure it was awesomely cool. I did miss his remembering Satoshi Kon, but I already was at that panel at Otakon.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel that bad because I'm sure it was the same panel and it's great if you went to it. If you didn't go to it, he's running it again. Go to it. It's awesome. And then also ended up missing. I decided to instead go to the Yamato panel that was being hosted by Tim Eldred. Because I got to meet him the previous night, and I told him I'd do some Yamato stuff. And man, that guy knows himself some Yamato.
Yeah.
And I got to see some awesome scenes that he showed from like some of the premieres of the live action movie. Like I got to see the guy do the theme song with like Yamato backup dancers, where they actually started spelling the letters of Yamato using their bodies. That was great. And I got to see his trip where he had to go meet Leiji Matsumoto.
Oh, awesome.
Patrick Macias, some other people. The man's got some great stuff. And then at that point, I decided, when I found out, again, because I didn't realize who was running it, Aaron and Noah were doing a manga about culinary manga. And I had to go check that out.
I don't remember what I was doing during this. I just remember ending up on Life of the Mecha D-List at the end.
I went to the culinary one too. I thought it was very interesting. I didn't know that you could have so much manga about food.
You can. There's manga that's about cooking food, cooking competitions, eating in prison.
Eating in prison, yeah. That one kind of threw me off. 2 mangas about eating in prison.
Yeah, there was like an eating in prison and a Yakuza eating in prison.
Cooking manga.
There's probably one called Cooking Papa. It's been around way longer than Cooking Mama.
I'm aware of Cooking Papa. I've heard of that one.
That is the manliest man you will ever see.
Yeah, totally.
I was aware of. I always wondered if it was Cooking Mama was somehow inspired by that, but.
But there's a lot of really great cooking manga out there, and I really kind of want to own some of it now. And I'm now going to start looking into it. I actually have a little paper that I wrote on my pocket schedule about a bunch of titles I want to start looking up.
not manga, but Kamen Rider Kabuto. When they're not kicking monsters so hard they explode. It's a lot about the main character cooking things.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of sub stuff about cooking things. I mean, you look at Kaishi, where the guys want to make cakes, and
oh well, also Fate Stay Night, especially the visual novel, they spend a lot of time talking about what they're cooking of all things. But
I really liked the novel because they actually even took recipes from the manga and showed what happened when they tried to cook it. The one that killed me the most was when she tried to make the bread in the rice cooker.
which is totally doable. We've done it. Well, our friends Brett and Amy did it. But I had it, and it was pretty tasty. It wasn't Mike and Esther.
Somebody
I
did
knew
it.
someone who actually made rice cooker melon pan, and it was delicious.
Hers looked a little troubled, but...
Well, not all rice cookers are made the same.
But she made it in a Hello Kitty rice maker. So.
Well, it's true.
They'll put Hello Kitty on anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they will. And then I think that we finally finished up catching the first half of the Life on the Mecha D-List.
I think we caught most of it before we actually left. But
Yeah, it was a little good bit of it, which is by our buddies Mark and Drew, and also our buddy Dave Merrill,
Dave.
who
he had
is
to leave
the
early,
co-con chair and does Anime Hell and much other stuff. But he's a busy man, and I think he actually had to leave early to get a sandwich and then also go host another panel.
Yeah, because
That
of
was all
bad
him.
scheduling. But oh well. He was there long enough for Sasoriger, and that's all that mattered.
But that's okay. I mean, one thing about AWA is that there's tons of panels that are on at the exact same time. For example, Viz did a media industry panel at the same time as Tim Eldred did his Anime Treasures panel, which at the same time as the My Little Pony panel. When my English Jamboree was going on, Aaron Noah were doing their unusual manga genres, while then Drew was also doing his Leiji Matsumoto panel, while somebody else was also doing another panel I kind of wanted to go to.
And, and if you were ever just didn't know what to do, you could drop by one of the viewing rooms.
So there's always tons of stuff to do at AWA. The trick is you always have to really seriously pick and choose what you're going to go see and what you're going to do. But if you know how to do it properly, you're going to have a great time.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just really disappointed I didn't get to go all the ones you did because of my sickness. I got the con crud. I actually wanted to go see several of those that you mentioned, but oh well.
Well, you unfortunately caught the con crud as you went to the con. It was you didn't have the usual pattern of you're fine, then you go to the con, then you catch it. You got to catch it at the con, and it blossomed during the con.
Yeah, it didn't help that I tried to give blood. They couldn't even get a whole bag out of me. I was so sick. That was a bad idea. But I did still give someone blood, and I still got to see your panels, which are the most important to me. So, yay.
But, it was great. It was fun. I enjoyed myself. I don't think there was that many glitches or bad things happening, at least for me, that happened at the con.
Yeah. There was that one voice actress whose name I'm forgetting, but she was Dorothy in Gundam Wing, and she had a bad translator.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry,
God,
but
bad.
I'm sorry for her. Her translator was bad.
Well, yeah, it was obviously this was a girl who probably knew the basics of Japanese. Might even know Japanese pretty well. I don't think she was equipped to be a translator. The other guy who was handling Abe was, he was doing the usual thing we see a translator who knows what they're doing. They're writing everything down as they're talking. They're thinking about if we're actually then, either saying it in English or Japanese. They actually put a little thought to it. Whereas
maybe I shouldn't talk because I don't think I could do that. So who am I?
Oh, I definitely couldn't. But she was just trying to do it off the cuff, and that's why I'm wondering if she does it, if she knows Japanese, but has never actually tried to be a translator before.
Yeah, the back and forth element.
And so I just think she was a little bit over her head, especially as the voice actress. She was very, very verbose and speedy when she was talking.
Yeah, she talked quickly. She was bubbly. She was a happy Genki girl. And,
she was everything you'd want out of a Japanese voice actress guest.
She was entertaining. Like I got enough of a gist that it didn't hurt me too much. The translator was a little awkward, but
Basically, I think she was trying to say, and what I got from what they were trying to say, she was talking about how she wanted everybody to come to her panel, and that how the power of anime helped a lot of people during the earthquake that happened in Japan. That she would go and volunteer, and they would be sitting there watching anime to try and lift their spirits, which was kind of cool. At least that's what I think. That's what she said.
That was in there somewhere, more or less. There's actually, that'd take a long time. There's a lot of interesting, fun anime and live action related stories and related to the earthquake with the actors therein, but that would actually take a while to go into, so maybe not the place. But
yeah, and and honestly, if the fact that we had fun and our biggest problems was we couldn't do everything we wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean that is our biggest problem with the con. There were just too many fun things to do. We couldn't do them all. Oh my.
that means it was a pretty good convention. And again, I was able to find Dragon Quest stuff. I have been searching high and low for anything Dragon Quest at all in dealers' rooms this entire year. And as I was picking up Jellyfish Princess, little Kurala plushies, I then look and see they had a King Slime plush. And I was like,
Ding!
Mine. And I'm glad I bought it. It was $40. I'm like, well, that's a lot of money for a plush, but it's Dragon Quest. I don't care. On eBay, these things are over $100. So I don't know whether or not I've paid too much. Obviously, I could have paid way more. In this case, AWA had the greatest dealer's room of all time. At least this year. As far as the actual, construction, AWA has always had a really good dealer's room. There's plenty of open areas to walk around in. You don't feel like you're being shoveled around, because even Otakon, as huge as there were just so many people,
it was kind of cramped.
Whereas AWA, you could walk wherever you wanted to.
It's a huge space, and there were a lot of dealers, but there was also enough space in between booths. There was enough space that you could have clear lines of traffic, and you weren't necessarily all crammed up against each other.
I also got to see Bob and Emily DeJesus again, and finally meet their kid Squish.
Aww.
That was great.
The littlest DeJesus of them all.
If you've never heard of Robert and Emily DeJesus, I strongly recommend going back and listening to our interview with them that we did a couple years back. They're great and wonderful people. Bob's an awesome artist. Emily is a great and wonderful person. Mm-hmm. And definitely check out the interview and check out their stuff. And it was good times. And the Artist Alley was also, I see what they were trying to do with the setup of it, but I have a feeling that what they did was, if you can imagine an H, and in the first half of that H was filled with all the booths and stuff, right? There were booths that were making the H shape, and then within the bottom half of the H was filled with more booths, for artists.
Yeah.
And then the upper half of the H, the actual lines of the H were still more booths, but in that middle area, there were just tables for people to go sit in.
Yeah, and if you were kind of at the back of the room,
no one saw you.
No, it seemed like that was kind of deserted, and sadly, I know people who were stuck back there, and it seemed like they weren't getting the traffic they maybe deserved.
I think maybe what might be a better way to handle it next time would be to have the front and the back filled with stuff and have the middle area to have the open tables, or just not have open tables and just or maybe they didn't have enough artists to fill up the entire spot. I don't know, but I feel that another complaint would be to better optimize that space so that all the artists can get some sort of actual thing, or possibly maybe put the art show in the back, set up the front. So that gives people an excuse to go to the very back to go check out the art show. Yeah. So they'll see these other artists. Something so that definitely some artists got the raw deal.
Yeah, to encourage people to, go from one end to the other somehow.
And it'd be great if they could figure out some way to let not that happen. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can think about AWA, at least from us.
Yeah, it was totally a con, and yeah.
I totally had fun, except for the days I was sick and dying, but it was good. I still had fun.
So, that's us.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I'm going to punch you, Kevin. I promise.